Hey, what's up, guys? Tyler here with secureteam. Well, we have some very anomalous new satellite images that have just hit the web, and this was actually submitted to MUFON, which, if you don't know, is basically this website, and it's a huge database where people can go and report their UFO sightings, submit their videos, their images, and everything has a certain case number so you can look them up. And it's a great tool, although some people have said that MUFON has actually been taken over and is being operated by the CIA or some sort of rogue part of the government. But that's a topic for another video that we'll get in another time. So this was reported by a user who yesterday on the 23rd was looking at an African satellite feed. It's called SAT-24, and you can look at it on your computer or your phone, and it's a daytime map from this satellite. And so the viewer stated in his report to MUFON, and I quote, "I was looking at this satellite map image, looking at the sub-Saharan African region, specifically the border between Sudan and Chad. At approximately 9:45, there is nothing but cloud, but at 10, you can clearly see something moving at high speed coming out of the border area between North Sudan and Chad. At 10:15, the object is bigger and by the distance covered traveling at a very high speed. Then at 10:30, it's gone. It seems to be coming out of North Sudan in a southwesterly direction." And so as you're seeing here, this is a really bizarre discovery because as I'm looping over these images in sequence from the time they started before this object appears to the time when it disappears, we can see something that appears to be at a very high altitude considering this is a satellite and at the distance and just how small these African countries and states are. Whatever this object is, it looks to be well above the cloud cover, much closer to space and to the satellite than it is to Earth. Because if this were a plane or something like that, just looking at the size of this on the satellite, this plane would have to be miles long. And so you can see this thing zooming by here at an amazing rate of speed. And I'll show you a close-up view here. And from what I can see, this unidentified flying object, it definitely looks to have some plane-like features, where it has a very sharp pointed end to it that's black. The back part of the object is in white, although this could be maybe some sort of contrail coming out of it, but it seems to hold its shape, so I'm not so sure. And again, at the rate that this thing is moving, I'm having a lot of trouble convincing myself that this is something man-made. And from the research I've done here, I've been unable to find any sort of rocket launches or tests that directly went over Chad and Sudan at the time that this was taken. And again, whatever this object is, it's much closer to the satellite. So I'm thinking it's almost in space. Either it's in space, which would definitely increase the odds of it not being one of ours, or it's just skimming through the upper atmosphere of Earth, which again is just based on my judgment of the size of the object, the distance of the satellite, and the speed that it's going by. See, we don't have any aircraft like this, maybe rockets, that move at such a speed, at such a high altitude. So I'm having trouble, and you know, in my opinion, it's definitely a legitimate UFO sighting, a great catch by the viewer who caught it. And so definitely wanted to post it here. And you know, this isn't the first time that we have captured unknown craft blasting through our skies that have been caught on maps or GPS. You know, there was a video that I posted, I think it was about a year or two ago, where we had a very similar UFO case, where someone had been watching one of those flight tracker apps, which if you guys don't know, it allows you to see where basically all of the commercial airlines and stuff like that are in the world. And each specific aircraft is represented by a little plane emoji, and you can see them slowly moving through their skies on their destinations. And so this guy was monitoring this flight tracker app when he suddenly witnessed an unknown object blasting across the ocean towards New Zealand, moving at speeds that were around 100 times faster than the rest of the commercial planes on the map. And the object, it said, was later spotted on a weather camera showing the skyline over New Zealand. And, well, I'll just play you a clip from that video, so go ahead and check this out and we'll talk more in just a second. Basically, what's happened is a major news website out of New Zealand reported on a man who had been monitoring a flight tracker app. And for those of you who don't know what a flight tracker app is, it's basically a mobile app or an app on your computer that lets you track commercial airliners, anything on radar. Basically, you're watching a radar screen of flights in the area. So he was watching this flight tracking radar over New South Wales, which is near Melbourne, Australia. It's actually on the lower right-hand corner of Australia. And he witnessed basically an object zooming across the screen going over 100 times as fast as any of the other planes showing up on the radar, flying across the ocean, heading towards the Canberra area. And so the New Zealand news website, what was originally reported by the Breakfast Crew, and they got a hold of this source, and basically they talked to one of their reporters on the website who had discovered this UFO appearing on one of their traffic cameras or weather cameras. And as you're seeing here, they caught this object coming into sight, heading away from the city. It looked to be maneuvering. I'm not sure if it went back out to sea because, again, this is breaking news. And there's actually a full video on this on the Breakfast Club website, and we will link to that down in the video description. But they tracked this object and actually caught it on this weather cam, as you're seeing, and we will go ahead and zoom in and slow this down for you. And as you can see, it does not look like a plane or anything like that. And I definitely think we have a legitimate, unidentified object here. And it's another one of these UFOs that's caught screaming, speeding by from the ocean. And if you remember, we posted a recent video, where basically people had witnessed a UFO off the coast of Yorkshire, England. And fighter jets were actually scrambled and sent out over the ocean. And it was later said, well, I believe this is a cover story, that the fighter jets were scrambled. And by the way, everyone in Yorkshire and the surrounding areas heard these loud sonic booms created by the fighter jets. But they said that the fighter jets were just escorting an airliner from France that had been having trouble with its communications equipment, or its radio. And then come to find out that just a month earlier, the same thing happened. People were reporting an unidentified object off the coast, and fighter jets were scrambled for a second time, flying way out over the ocean, at which point they said this time it was a private plane that was having trouble with its communications equipment. So this happened 1 month after the other off the coast of Yorkshire, England, where people reported a speeding UFO that had come up out of the ocean. And I just think it's very odd that now we have another UFO, this time seen on radar. And you can see the radar here. I mean, this thing is flying. It is going massively fast. All right, so yeah, that was a clip from our video from about a year or two ago, where again, we had another unknown object, which for some reason was appearing on this flight tracker map and was showing up as just another plane, which likely meant that this unknown object had some sort of transponder or automatic dependent surveillance broadcast, otherwise known as ADS-B, which is a transponder. And for those of you who don't know, transponders must be on for the aircraft to show up on these flight tracker maps. So that kind of made things stranger, seeing as this craft was moving at 100 times the speed as these other commercial airliners. And so the big question was, what the hell was this object? With many viewers stating that it was moving even much too fast to be a fighter jet. It was covering way too much land to be utilizing any sort of technology we had at the time. So yeah, it's just another case where these unknown craft have been spotted on GPS flight map tracking systems, or in this case, a African satellite feed. So yeah, I figured maybe you guys could give me your opinion, and we can try to figure out what this object is. Once again, blasting through the sky, doesn't look like anything I've ever seen, and at the size and altitude, I mean, I just don't know. So I'll put the link to MUFON and the case number down in the video description. You can download the images for yourself, check them out, and let me know what you think. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by. Be sure to stay tuned and turn on notifications, and if you have your own strange story or UFO sighting footage, don't hesitate to email me. My contact info is down in the video description. So have a great rest of your night, and I will see you back in just a bit.